I am back. I don't have an antidote for this episode, but I'm going to put in one of my favorite series called Robot Chicken, which actually does have a little spoof they did on Pet Semetary. So here you go.
Out of lasagna. Maybe that weirdo across the street has some. Another thrilling journey through Garfield's one dimension. Good Mondays.
Garfield, no! I'm nothing without you. No marketing value whatsoever.
Don't you bury that cat in the pet cemetery now. Sometimes dead's better.
How could dead be better?
Not dead. Dead. Dead's pet crematorium.
Oh no, Odie, move. Yeah, I'm sure this'll be fine.
This will not be fine. He who disturbs our sacred ground shall pay a terrible price.
Oh.
Didn't you hear me? Can anyone hear me? I once had sex with my horse. That felt good to get out.
I love being old and alone. I don't have to wipe when I shit. Eh? Ah! That's the most upsetting place to cut. Ah! That's the most upsetting place to cut. Ah! Stop trying to top yourself.
Well, now I'm gonna slice that little flap of skin between your penis and your balls.
With Garfield and Odie gone, it's just you and me, Nermal.
I'm the world's cutest cat living with the world's saddest 37-year-old man. My life is crap.
I hate Mondays.
Garfield, you look terrible.
I look exactly the same.
That's what I meant. Terrible.
So no, your cat is not a zombie. All his fat must have cushioned the impact from the truck.
You buried me alive, you fat-shaming, loveless piece of milk toast.
But he killed our neighbor.
Classic case of the lasagna withdrawals. They cause short-term irritability.
Short term? Did it wear off before or after you killed Nermal?
Before, that pussy was a twat.
My greatest novel yet. No van could kill me, Steve King!
Eager to start afresh, the young Dr. Lewis Creed and his family, his wife Rachel, their daughter Ellie, and their 3-year-old toddler Gage, move to their new home in a small rural town of Ludlow, Maine, alarmingly close to a busy highway. However, after the inadvertent death of Rachel's cherished tomcat in an awful accident, reluctantly a desperate Lewis will take his friendly neighbor's advice to bury it in the ancient Micmac graveyard, a mystic burial ground imbued with alleged reanimating powers. Now, despite the terrible results and the insistent warnings from a recently deceased, tragedy-stricken Lewis has no other choice but to go back to the Indian cemetery in high hopes that this time things will be different. Nevertheless, can the dead truly return from the grave? Hello everyone, and welcome back to our horror collection theme costume retrospective. Today, let's start off by saying you have seen Freddy Krueger. It was my first one that I did in this collection. You've seen the Chucky, which was Cody's. You've actually seen, as of this recording, I just uploaded the Leatherface. So that's 3 out of 5. So this costume This costume was put together by my daughter, and I have her with me today. This is Alexis.
Hi.
And for those that don't know me, I'm Jerry from Jerry's Cosplay and Props. You see me online, you've been seeing a lot of these videos. You've been seeing Alexis in a lot of my videos too. So today is kind of a weird setup for a costume because it just happened to be about the same time that the Pet Semetary 2019 movie was coming out. And I thought it was kind of weird or kind of creepy to see a group of kids having a funeral procession for an animal. So Alexis came out with this Indian dress on, and that same day she had on, I think she had on her tights from dance class or so. And I'm like, you know what? Grab that zebra mask and put it on. And she put on the zebra mask, and I'm like, oh my god, that fits right into that whole motif. So literally, this is a closet cosplay. All right, I didn't build this costume. I didn't do anything to this costume. She literally had a zebra mask that we got at the zoo. I think it was like Southwick Animal Farm, which is in Mendon, Mass. And she had this in her costumes in her armoire. So I can't take any credit for building this. I could take credit for a design element. And actually, Alexis can take credit for that too, because between the two of us, we actually came up with this costume. Now, I don't have the zebra mask anymore. Unfortunately, it's amongst the missing in her. Room. I believe it's still in her room. So, but I'm hoping that these pictures that come up that I can get through to you, or and understand what it was just a simple plastic mask. I know in the movie they were more like
foam.
Was it a foam mask? Okay, It was a foam mask. They've been doing a lot of that. When I was growing up at about her age, it was plastic masks. Yep. So now it's foam masks. So, they do paper mache. A lot of people have been doing paper mache ones for animals, and obviously, this being a costume, I think you got this from someone that my wife works with. Some girl had this, and it was, outgrew it and kind of hand me down to Alexis. So, but let me explain a little bit, just in case you're unaware. The 1989 Pet Semetary, I believe it was 89, Pet Semetary didn't have this element in it. It had the element of burying an animal in a cemetery designated just for pets. And then they, Creed, not Creed, Lewis, sorry. Well, yeah, it is Creed because his last name. Lewis brought church up to this burial ground a little bit outside of the town, and then the cat came back. And coincidentally, through the movie, spoiler alert, just in case you haven't seen the original Pet Semetary, he did the same thing with Gage. When Gage got hit by a truck, he brought Gage up to the cemetery and brought him back to life. And nothing's as worse as a creepy little kid running around with a knife. Okay, so In the 2019 version, they went into a little bit of a explanation on this. Judd ends up talking to Lewis about how, you know, these kids, this is what these kids do to their pets, you know, anywhere from a baby cow to a sheep to, there was even reference to a bull in the book, actually. And someone actually buried a bull up into this, this burial ground, this poisoned burial ground that causes things to come back to life. So, but anyways, getting a little off topic. So these kids in this, I'm like, wow, I kind of like this element where these kids are just having this funeral procession for their animals. And they wear masks that are reference to their animals. So like Ellie, you saw her way at the end. She was wearing a cat mask for Church. And coincidentally, Church is the family cat, Winston Churchill. So when this whole element came up, this costume wasn't necessarily a overarching villain of a movie like Freddy Krueger, Leatherface, Chucky. It was more or less of these creepy kids with this. And I have this whole notion is okay, in the 2019, they kind of changed it up a little bit where Ellie is the one that gets, she, unfortunately she dies from a truck hitting her instead of Gage. Same premise, the whole thing's all the same. Later on, Lewis goes and buries Ellie up into this I want to say it's the Indian burial ground. Brings her up there, she comes back. Okay, it can't be the only kid that does this. So what if to say these kids that do these funeral processions to get a little bit of weirdness in them, what if to say these are actually ghosts, bringing the animals down here, but we do know that, there was a fresh burial. Okay, fine. But what if? So I decided to take this notion and put it toward this costume. She had a zebra mask, not necessarily having a zebra as a pet, but a horse. Let's say her horse ends up passing away or dying or whatever, they bury it, and something happens to the kid. Kid gets put in the, into the Indian burial ground, comes back. And it's kind of the horror-esque, feel, because you do see images of these kids in a dark wooded area, just standing there, kind of real creepy. It's the creepier the better. That's what I like with horror movies. So when we came up with this whole thing, I was like, I've been seeing this on TV. We haven't seen the movie yet. We actually saw the movie at home. My son was with us. We actually were trying to see these in the movie theater, and it was just, timing wasn't our friend at the moment. So, but Alexis hasn't seen this movie. She probably will eventually. But there's been a bunch of jump scares, and Cody's been seeing it, so and he jumped when we saw it. So it's a small. This concept's a small concept in this movie, but what if you branched out independently? Because in the book they do reference someone going through a lot of grief and all that, buries a family member in this burial ground, and they end up coming back, and then sometimes, and how the saying goes, I believe it goes, sometimes they're better left dead. And that's the whole thing. And we know with seeing Ellie when she comes back, that she's not really quite there. and we understand that Judd ends up she ends up killing Judd and all this. So, but I wanted to do that, and I look at the whole thing saying, well, that is such a unique idea and it's such an easy concept. I'm gonna put it into my horror collection. So, and I'm just gonna let people see this. It's no different. It's no frill. These kids, they end up they're in jeans and a shirt and sneakers and whatnot, doing burials. And let's say this character ended up doing she went in and this is what she wears to these burials, for these animals. Look. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna keep that. We're gonna keep this idea and go with it. There's also one other cosplay, closet cosplay that Cody has done. I think we'll cover that a little bit later. It would be nice if I could cover it for this because it's such a simple costume. But we'll keep it with this whole essence. But I know that whenever Alexis sees this, she gets a little creeped out whenever she sees the picture that I made of this. I tried to get her to do some weird body movements or so in our hallway because she does take dance and she is doing acro, so it's very limber and all that. So I was trying to get some other images. I'm hoping that I can find them so I can post them up. But it was actually pretty interesting. I liked, personally liked moving myself. Once again, I'm probably amongst the minority. I like a movie for the sake of watching a movie for entertainment purposes. But yeah, Alexis does get creeped out over this, but hey, you are part of the horror collection now because technically this is considered horror.
Yeah.
So, 1 second. We're about like 10, 15 minutes in. But anyways, I'm not going to go through comfort-wise with this costume because obviously it's just this and a mask.
Pretty comfortable.
Yeah, pretty comfortable. She didn't wear this to anything particular. It was just something that came right out and open in our home, and so there was no con for this, and there was no Halloween trick or treating with this. I don't think anybody would understand the whole concept.
Yeah.
So, but I'm actually kind of proud of the notion that we actually pulled this. We actually pulled this off so easily. So, do you want to add anything to this?
Fairly easy to have everything to make it and wear it.
Yes. It's always good to have it on hand. Have all your pieces on hand, so you don't have to spend money on it. So, but other than that, I think that we're actually kind of done with this episode.
Yeah.
This is one of our quickest episodes that we've actually
Yes.
done for this. Once again, I mentioned that Cody has a closet cosplay. We actually went to a con and he was dressed up in like everyday clothes, and a friend of mine came up. He does a Roland Deschain from the Dark Tower, and we took a picture with it. I'm like, I'm not gonna let this go because he really looked like what I envisioned Jake Chambers to look like. So, but anyways, we will take that and roll that in. I suppose being a Stephen King book, we probably should add it to the horror collection, but it wasn't necessarily horror, so we'll worry about that in a later time, kind of a standalone thing. But so next up, we'll end my horror collection off with Billy the Puppet from Saw. I'm actually eager to get into that because I did do some facial prosthetics very similar to what you saw with Freddy Krueger. Unfortunately, I want to say the facial prosthetic ended up, disintegrating on me, unfortunately. But we'll do our best with getting it through. So, but that's next week with Billy, and after that, I'm not sure what else we're gonna where we're gonna pick back up. Might do some Marvel heroes.
Yeah.
I don't know, or DC heroes or so. We still got probably about 15 more costumes to go.
We need a lot of costumes.
I still have a lot going on. Coincidentally, that's going to roll me into my plugs here. I do what's called Jerry's Cosplay Minutes, where I'm actually working on doing some cosplay. You've actually seen me working on these wings right back of me, or you will see me working on some of these wings. It'll be stuff like this that I'll be working on. I've been doing a lot of sewing and processing right now. This is for Alexis's Wonder Woman costume.
My new one.
Yeah. Her boots actually just came in, so I'm going to be working on those. Her undersuits, you know, her undersuit and oversuit, we'll be working on that. Cody actually has his Nightwing on deck. I need to upgrade my 3D printer because I'm working on a Batman myself to go with my Batman and Laughs and my Joker costume. So I want to make that trifecta one. You'll understand when the time comes. So you'll be seeing me working on all this stuff. I have a lot going on. I actually have another idea coming too. I was just updating my website. And the idea came to me. So anyways, so that's Jerry's Cosplay Minutes. You'll hear me talking a little bit about it, but you'll see some of the work I've been doing. My other the other plug I have on deck is Cody and I have been doing a retrospective, or not a retrospective,
Review?
but a review. Thank you. Review video on the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. We have episode 3 will be going up this week as of this recording. Then we're actually taking a break and doing something a little bit different, talking about the Infinity Stones. So that was actually kind of a special presentation because we were actually heading out to Lowe's and we managed to do a recording in the car. So come over and check out the Quantum. Come check out the Quantum Perspective with Cody and I, and enjoy that. And right here on this YouTube channel. And then head over to my website, www.jerrycp.com, JERRYCP.com. There you're going to see all these costumes and plus some other things. I was updating them today with these video links here, just to get more exposure. Go there, take a look at everything we got going on. There's a lot of work going in there. I try to update it once a week. So if you don't see any updates yet, bear with me. Just bear with me. Trust me, because I've been updating, and I hit the publish and it will show you all the work I've been doing. So there's about 4 weeks worth of stuff that needs to get published out, and I'm going to be doing that this week. So anyways, so give a like to this, subscribe to this channel. Do not miss any of our videos. I've been having a blast working with the kids with these and doing these, and I do appreciate everybody's input and everybody's viewing of this. So what do you say? We're gonna let these people go now?
Bye.
All right, take care everybody. Have a great week or weekend whenever you're watching this, and keep yourself out of trouble. All right, thank you.
Bye.
Bye.